everything from the fluoride issue. I believe we should have fluoride in the water based on what my experts are telling me. But let's be clear.
All right, look. Fluoride has been one of these things that everybody, I don't know if people know just really the effects of fluoride. Okay? Here we have Joy on here, and the mayor, of whoever he is from New York. This man from New York saying to keep the fluoride in the water. And I would agree if I was ignorant of the fact. So I remember my dad talking about this. My dad's very smart. He knows a lot about neurotoxins and the way that these different things affect our body. And I decided to refresh my memory about it, right? Here, I don't trust the government, honestly, at all, okay? They lie to us a lot, intentionally or unintentionally or carelessly, I don't know. Because a lot of the times it's like, oh, do this because it's healthy for you. And then like years later, it's like, oh, actually, this is totally bad for you. So I don't know why people decide to trust them over and over again. Because there's independent studies out there that are shut down or looked over or called conspiracy or called incredible, like incredulous, because they don't have a nice fancy paper from a school that okays the information as factual or not, depending on how they want the information out there or not. Even if it is completely true, and if it goes against their big money, then you're definitely not gonna be able to get your information out there. So I decided to look this up. Okay, so fluoride, is it safe in drinking water? Okay, it says in the beginning of the early 20th century, scientists linked high levels of naturally occurring fluoride in certain community water supplies to low levels of tooth decay. I don't know how they linked it to specifically tooth decay. I really don't know how you can link it, because this was in 1945. It says in 1945, Grand Rapids, Michigan, we all know Michigan's, spot on with water, became the first community in the world to add fluoride to the tap water, when subsequent studies showed a significantly lower rate of cavities in school children. I just still don't know how they got to this in 1945, linking it specifically to tooth decay. Okay? And it says fluoride protects teeth from decay by demineralization and remineralization. Too much fluoride can lead to dental fluorosis or skeletal fluorosis, which can damage bones and joints. Okay, so if we get too much of this is parts per million added in water, okay? If you get too much of this, then your teeth will decay, and your bones and your joints will decay. So you work in the heat, right? You work in the heat, and it's really hot, and you drink 10 bottles of water that day versus someone else that drinks 3 bottles of water. Would you get the toxic levels from drinking 10 bottles of water? It says it's like 7 parts per million or something in a bottled water. I'm just wondering, okay, when they tell you, when you're Googling, you keep seeing this too much fluoride. And I just wonder exactly, how do you measure too much? Because between a child all the way up to an adult elderly, what is too much for someone might not be too much for someone else. Or it might begin that the too much for someone is just the tiniest amount. I just don't trust them, and the too much is very decide on your own basis what's too much. Okay? And so we're supposed to trust them that they're not giving us too much of this stuff. But I'm like, I don't know. I just feel like a lot of people are having a lot of teeth issues, especially a lot of children. And I really think it's due to sugar intake. Sugar's in everything that we wouldn't think that sugar would be in, okay? I always know, like, okay, when you eat, whatever your diet is, it shows in your hair, your nails, your skin. If you have liver, stuff going on with your liver, you see it in your eyes or your skin. Or if you're malnourished, it shows up in your nails and your hair. Everything, it shows on our outward that we're malnourished inward. So sugar, when you ingest it, I always thought the dentist said, don't eat sugar because it's going to stick to your teeth, and then it's like your teeth are going to rot right there. Or is it just when you ingest all the sugar, when your nutrients, whatever, goes through your bones, and you get nutrients from the inside out? So is the too much sugar intake directly attributed to the brittleness or weakness of teeth that make the cavities? Or it could be both. I don't know. So, let's see. Next one. It says dental fluorosis is caused by higher than normal, again, we don't know what normal is, amount of fluoride ingestion while teeth are forming. And it appears it's excess of fluoride intake. It occurs when too much fluoride is consumed while the teeth are developing in childhood and permanently affects teeth. Fluorosis can affect the appearance of the teeth in a number of ways, depending on severity, like cloudy white lines or spots. And I took it a step further to look up in your bones, how that affects your bones. Okay, skeletal bone fluorosis affects your bones and joints. It can have a negative impact on your overall health, resulting in osteoporosis, arthritis, and chronic joint pain. It happens when you have chronic fluoride exposure, overexposure, for many years. So it links back to fluoride, like it's an overexposure. And I know that they say they find it in all this water. I mean, I don't know if that's true or not. That's just what they say. We have to trust what they say. I'd have to look into independent studies to see if that's true or not. I just don't know if this is the correct thing. I feel like everything that the government tells us to do actually makes us weaker, more brittle, and more sickly. And dumber. And yeah, it says that it's linked to lower IQ levels in children and more just learning problems. Have y'all ever questioned why there are people that are anti-shot people? Because when you look up the neurotoxins, just look up neurotoxins in these shots. Just Google that. See what they are. See a list. Pick one from the list. And you Google that and see how it affects your body. And then just imagine you're one of these people that are allergic to it, or the too much fluoride, but too much of this other neurotoxin. The first time someone gets this shot versus someone who gets 60 of them. Someone that has 60 might not ever have any kind of problems, but someone that just might have a bad reaction to that, because we don't know that from beforehand if this person's supposed to have this neurotoxin, and it completely damages them. Again, I am really anti that. I just am. Because I trust God for my health, and I trust that He made a system in which we can trust Him, and that He has everything here for us, that we don't need to put these things that are proven toxins in our body, that if you ingest through your mouth, like in any of these household chemicals or stuff like that, if you ingest, that it's poisonous, that you have to call for help. But we're bypassing our blood-brain barrier. Skipping that, if our body ingests something that it does not agree with, it rejects it, okay? Whenever you get shot, you can't reject it. Your body will freak out, and in several different ways. And it's neurologically that it freaks out. It's the only way, because it bypasses the system that's already put in place by God to regurgitate anything that is unsafe for us. So it can't do anything. It has to be in there, and it just does the damage, and you can't take it out because they're milliparticles. They're tiny. So just before you call anybody crazy, just look into it. It's simple. And just know that these people that have been in charge of this have not cared. They're actually evil, and they actually want this for people. They want the suffering of people. And it's in several different forms. And it's sold as this pretty thing that it helps, but it doesn't.